Conservative New Media viewers, JLin fans around the world, what's up? It's me, PFV, Paul F. Villarreal, the NBA expert. We're here to discuss Brooklyn's 91-82 victory today over the Atlanta Hawks in Brooklyn, New York. Atlanta falls to 39-38 on the season. Brooklyn improves to 18-59 on the year, including 12-28 at home. Woo! Great win. This was a terrific performance by the Nets. This was very much a defensive game in that neither team shot even 40% from the field. Obviously, you can tell by the low score that it was just not an offensive extravaganza, but Brooklyn did what they needed to do, and they got the victory. It was another strong performance, mostly from the bench, and Jeremy played great in this game, and the shooting slump appears to be over, and we'll cover that in just a second. Now, Brooklyn is 2-0 in the month of April so far, and they are 5-3 in their last 8 games, which is really great to see. So the 2-game losing streak I think we just went through is now over. That ended last game. Now we're on a 2-game winning streak. You know, is this the first time that? No, I don't think it is, but it's one of the rare times I believe that Brooklyn has won back-to-back games in this season. Actually, it might be the first time. I can't remember right now. Statistics quickly. The reason why Brooklyn won this game is they outperformed the Hawks in the first and the third quarters. The second and the fourth quarters were very close, but we know that Brooklyn has struggled in the third quarters many times this season, but that was not the case tonight. They had good focus, good purpose. I thought Jeremy controlled the game very well from a passing perspective, and they were just able to get done what they needed to get done. They also out-rebounded the Hawks, and they outshot them from three-point range. Statistics for the bench. Sean Kilpatrick, 4 points, 11 rebounds. Spencer Dinwiddie, 7 points, 2 rebounds. Isaiah Whitehead, 6 points, 4 rebounds. Quincy Acey, no points, 5 rebounds. Trevor Booker, 7 points, 7 rebounds. So the bench wasn't as overwhelming as they were yesterday in yesterday's game, but they still did enough, and their plus-minus was on the whole positive. So that's good to see. And Quincy Acey coming back is really a nice thing. So I think the only guy who's hurt on the entire roster is Joe Harris, who unfortunately, it was said tonight, will not play for the rest of the season, as he is still recovering from that sprained shoulder that he suffered about 18 games ago. But we'd be even better if Joe was playing. But fortunately, the guys that are suiting up right now, they're getting the job done. The starters, Karis LeVert, 9 points, 2 rebounds. Randy Foye, 3 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists. Rondae Hollis-Jefferson, 11 points, 5 rebounds. Brook Lopez had another big game, 29 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists. JLin, 15 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists. Jeremy played 31 minutes, shot 5 of 10 from the field, including 2 of 4 from three-point range, 3 of 4 from the free throw line, no steals, no block shots, 3 turnovers, 1 personal foul. Jeremy's plus-minus was a plus 10, which was the best among all of the starters. Another thing that happened in this game was that down the stretch, Jeremy really had to do Mr. Fourth Quarter because Brook looked like he cramped up. I had the sound down when I was watching the game tonight because I had the Atlanta Hawks feed, and I didn't feel like listening to Dominique. And so I didn't get to hear what was going on with Brook. But he had to come out of the game for the last couple minutes of the game. And it looked like cramps, the way that they were stretching him on the sidelines, but I didn't hear that. After Brook left the game, Jeremy really took over. And he got some good plays down the stretch and did what he needed to do. And look, Brook and Jeremy are really starting to work together well. And we know, we've talked about it numerous times this season. Is Brook going to get traded? Is Brook going to stick around? And so forth. And I have to say, I really think that they can work well together. Not only on the court, but I think their personalities match up really well in terms of just who they are as people. I think that they get along well. I think they respect each other a lot. And as we know, Jeremy's had numerous teammates that maybe he didn't get along with so great. And I think Brook is a refreshing, different type of person in that regard. And I think he and Jeremy can get along really well. And look, if Brook's used properly, he can dominate. And we've been seeing that in recent games. And Jeremy's done a terrific job getting him the ball. So, as I said, the shooting slump is over. Jeremy shot the ball extremely well in this game. 5 of 10, 50% from both the field and from three-point range. He looked really under control. And, I mean, it was... And, look, this is back-to-back. He played 31 minutes on a back-to-back, which is one of the highest minute totals he's had the entire season, let alone a back-to-back. And usually in Jeremy's career, he doesn't play well in back-to-backs. So these are very good signs. And so whatever was bugging him, or whatever was bothering him, seems like he's gotten over it pretty quickly. JK on Twitter sent me an article, not an article, but a post from Reddit, a link to a post on there from a couple days ago where Lorenzo Max, the poster, and I know Lorenzo from Twitter, was talking about how good Jeremy's defense has been this season. And maybe that's what's kind of been fatiguing him, because we speculated that Jeremy's shot might be off because his legs are tired. And given some of that data that Lorenzo Max posted, maybe that was what it was going on. And you can have anything. I mean, you could just have a period of a season where your legs are just, I don't know, you kind of get dead legs, they're just tired, or they're just acutely fatigued for like no reason. It could just happen. It's like a pitcher in baseball gets a dead arm. You can just have some of that. Maybe that's what's been going on with Jeremy. Maybe it is fatigue. Maybe he was playing defense a little too hard or something like that. Whatever the case, it wasn't affecting him tonight. And what I like about Jeremy now, and I've mentioned this many times before the season, is he's so much more relaxed now. Like, if he does have a shooting slump, if he does have a difficult game, it just doesn't affect him the way that it used to affect him. And let's be honest here, a large part of that is because he knows that his teammates and his coach support him. So he doesn't have to worry. He doesn't have to think, is Mikhail going to pull him out of the game? Is Byron Scott going to take him out of the rotation or sit him when he's healthy? He doesn't have to deal with that anymore. And that can give you a lot of confidence and kind of just let you be your best self. And what's happened here is it allowed Jeremy to kind of work through his little shooting slump by himself, instead of freaking out or trying to force his way out of it. He just kind of chilled out and played today, and he played great. And look, everything's going really well. I mean, it's a shame that the season's going to end soon, but things are so hopeful for next year based upon what we're seeing right now. And that's even before we have to see what kind of talent upgrades the Nets might make. But as I've said before, you take this same roster right now and you bring it back and have a full training camp and let guys work on their skills and their conditioning a little bit more, they're still going to be pretty good. This still could be a team that could compete for the playoffs, I think, right now, if you started the season again today. Now, they might not be in the top echelon, but they're there. They can play. And it's exciting. Remember, earlier in this season, we were so depressed, and it was just so repetitive, the beatdowns, game after game. And it was ugly. And it was disappointing, and it was just ugh. And now it's all gone. Now this team is just a totally different thing. Like I said, they won 5 of their last 8 games. They had an excellent March. I think, what were they, like 8-10 or 8-9 or something, like 8-10, I think. And it's just all turning around now. So it's just really good to see, and Jeremy is right there leading the charge. So I'm just very happy and looking forward to the next game. That's kind of the overview for the game tonight. Now I'm going to go through my notes for the game. Oh yeah, another neat thing, statistic about tonight's game was that coming into this game, Brooklyn had been 0-13 in the second night of a back-to-back situation. So tonight was the first time all year that they have won the second night of a back-to-back. So that's a nice little stat, and it just shows you again that things are changing beyond where they were before. Also tonight was the final back-to-back game for the season for the Nets, so they don't have to deal with that anymore, and that certainly is nice. I noticed in the second quarter that Atlanta was trapping Jeremy pretty hard. Like, even when he wasn't doing pick and roll plays, just sometimes when he was coming over half court and dribbling to one side, when he would go towards the baseline, they would trap him just to get the ball out of his hands. And it just, again, it shows you how concerned they are about him. And again, this is the approach of many of the teams, which is get the ball out of Jeremy's hands and you can slow down the Nets. And that's why the more talent that is put around Jeremy, the easier it will be for him and the more effective he will be, because they won't be able to trap him as much. They won't be able to double team him as much. And if you put a really, really good defender or your best perimeter defender on Jeremy, that means someone else has a weak defender on them or an undersized defender. Like if you're taking a point guard and moving him to somebody else, then that's likely to be a mismatch against whoever has the point guard defending him now. So that's really cool. The Nets aren't there yet, but they'll get there. Okay. Going on to the third quarter, as I mentioned just a few minutes ago, the chemistry between Brooke and Jeremy is just getting better and better and better, where Brooke anticipates Jeremy's passes with a higher level now, so he can quickly kind of get the ball and go up for shots. And it's just what you see with it in these games lately is there's more and more assist that Jeremy is getting with Brooke, because he's getting the ball to Brooke in the right spots where Brooke wants it, and Brooke is just going right to the basket. Instead of like, well, maybe I'm not really where I want to be, or I'm not sure if this is the right spot or whatever. And it's more like, okay, give me the ball, shoot, boom, bang. I score, and you get the assist. And as I've said, that makes things easier for Jeremy. He doesn't have to score all the time. Sometimes when he just, maybe his shot is off, or maybe he is a little bit fatigued, just pass the ball to Brooke. And Brooke is 7 foot tall and, I don't know, about 270 pounds. I mean, he's not the most athletic guy in the world, but he's so big, and he has a lot of skill. Guys just can't deal with him. I mean, a lot of guys can't stop him because of those traits. And so it's nice to have a teammate like that, because it makes things a whole lot easier for you. And definitely, it's just good to see those guys playing off one another better and better. And look, if I was the Nets and I see how these two guys are playing right now, they're probably rethinking about if they're going to get rid of Brooke. That would be my guess. But, well, we'll see. We'll see. But I think it can work really well. And I wasn't sure about that earlier in the season. But you see the way that Brooke is shooting the three-pointer, really shooting it pretty darn well. And just, again, how well they get along and how well they're meshing on the court. And it looks like this could definitely be a promising duo going into the future. Okay. In the third quarter, as I said, the Nets did very well in the third quarter, and a lot of that was due to Jeremy. Jeremy just raises the tempo and the pace of the game. And there were stretches of the third quarter where it was almost like a conductor organizing a symphony, where it's like all of a sudden the ball was moving really well and the Nets were running the court, and Jeremy was behind most of that. Not all of it, but most of it. Just because he's the one leading that. He's the one getting the guys out, getting them into that type of speed play. And he makes the passes and he initiates passing sequences, and it just becomes contagious. Like there was one play during that stretch where the Nets were out on the break. Jeremy threw the ball ahead to Brook really close to the basket, but Brook had a man on him, didn't have a clear angle, so he immediately passed the ball back out to Karis LeVert for a made three-pointer. The bench is going crazy, and there's just a rhythm. There's just a rhythm you can see, and Jeremy brings that in a way that not a whole bunch of point guards in the league can do. And it's really awesome to see. And you know it when you see it. And it was definitely happening in the third quarter, and it was because of Jeremy. It's because of that style that Jeremy plays, and that is infectious to the rest of the team. Moving on into the fourth quarter, I made a note that says, Jeremy much smarter today on not forcing shots. So as I mentioned a few minutes ago, he wasn't pressing today. In the last game, it seemed like he was pressing. He was forcing. He didn't do that today. He kind of, as the expression is, let the game come to you, rather than you try to force what you want on the flow of the game. No, you work within the flow rather than trying to change the flow. And so that's what Jeremy did today. Last game he shot 14 times. Tonight, for most of the game, he had shot only 8 times. But it was effective. It was great. And he was shot extremely efficient and so on. And then the only reason he shot more down the stretch was because Brook went out of the game. So he needed to shoot more. He needed to make something happen. And then when he wanted to do it, he did do it. But like I said, he just kind of scaled back a little bit on offense today, and it actually ended up working really, really well. So he ended up with more points than he did last game when he might have tried to press a little bit too much. So it's just great to see. Like I said, Jeremy's smart. If you give him the opportunity, he'll make his own adjustments. Of course, like I said in the past, he didn't have the opportunity to make adjustments because when something didn't go just right, he wasn't on the court. But now he is on the court, and this is what he can do, and he made the changes he needed to make, and we had more success today. Then I noted that Brook went out of the game. As I said, I don't know the exact thing, but it looked like cramps just from the way they were stretching him. And then finally, with Atlanta was kind of making a run in the fourth quarter, and I don't know how much time was left. Jeremy had a couple different, he drove to the basket and got a couple different free throw opportunities, which was really important. And then the dagger or the finishing blow in this game was Jeremy made a terrific pass right down by the basket. Trevor Booker was all by himself, and he spun and did this super dunk. And you could just see right after the play, Jeremy was smiling. Atlanta called a timeout, and it's like that was it. That was like the little final stroke on the painting, and it was just awesome, and everybody was happy and so forth. That's the thing with Jeremy and the way that he plays. It's like watching Steve Nash. It's fun. it's exciting. Not only do you win, but it's interesting. It's enjoyable. And that's what was happening in the third and fourth quarter of this game. And it's like I said, everybody gets into it. When one guy passes a lot, everybody passes. And it's just, that's what's happening with this team, is kind of Jeremy's personality is taking over the team in a really good way. And it's fun. It's great to see. And as I said, it's very enjoyable to watch. So that's pretty much it for this game. Excuse me, I'm very congested right now. Let's talk about the next game coming up. That game will take place 2 days from now, Tuesday, April 4th. It will be against the Philadelphia 76ers in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. It will take place at 7 p.m. Eastern Time here in the United States. And instead of being on Yes Network, it will be on Yes 2. And so that's, again, like ESPN and ESPN2. My guess is Yes Network will be covering the Yankees game that day. So that means that Brooklyn, the Nets, get kicked down to the Yes2 network. So just if you're used to watching games on Yes, just note that change. Of course, if you're not in Philadelphia or you're not in New York City, then you can catch the game on NBA League Pass. So look, terrific win. This was great. This was just very encouraging. Guys had a lot of fun. The crowd was into it. And just really, this is a good harbinger of what's to come for this team. And it's great with Jeremy. Look, now it's about 20 games or so that he's played since the hamstring injury. And it's like, remember, so much this season, we're like, oh, is he going to get hurt again? And every time we'd kind of fall down or something, we'd be like, all holding our breath. And it's like, that's over now. He's cool. He's past it. Now he can work on locking in his shooting form. And he can head towards the summer soon and work on improving his skills even more, which I'm sure he will do. And it's just, it's really exciting. And I can't wait till the next game. So we will speak with you again when that comes up. Hope you're having a great night or great day wherever you are around the world when you watch this video. Once again, we will talk to you in about 48 hours from now, after the Brooklyn Nets travel to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania to take on the 76ers.